If you've been following this channel, you know I am a big Star Wars collector. Besides being a toy maker and a professional in the toy industry, I also buy toys and collect them. Some of my favorite Star Wars toys are kind of things you can't really get anymore, like that cool unleashed slave Leia that looked like she was dancing around a stripper pole. Can't believe Lucasfilm actually allowed them to make that. And I love having action figures of things that have been erased from Star Wars, like Sebastian Shaw as Anakin Skywalker. I'll always treasure this 13-inch figure that came with a book. But one of my favorite Star Wars collectibles of all time isn't a collectible, but a homemade item I created. My very own lightsaber. Now, we all know if you want to be a Jedi Knight like your father before you, having your own lightsaber and building it is part of your training. So I guess that makes me farther along in my Jedi training. Hey, why not? We did see Luke creating his lightsaber in a deleted scene in Return of the Jedi. It didn't quite look as cool as this, but you can imagine that maybe slightly before the scene took place he was doing this. Now, there were some episodes in the animated series, specifically I think it was Clone Wars, where Yoda brings some younglings into the Jedi Temple, or not the temple, but they go to that snowy planet where they get the crystals from, and they all take turns building lightsabers, and the Wookiee makes his out of wood, and everyone kind of picks and chooses and designs it based on their personality and what they're like. It's part of what makes a lightsaber yours. This has been attempted to be captured in the toy aisle with things like the Ultimate Lightsaber set, which allows children to build a lightsaber. You can also do this at the Disney theme parks with a giant display in the Star Tours shop, letting you pick out different pieces, different hilts, different blade colors, and for the low, low price of $22.95, well, that was the price like 10, 20 years ago. Now it's probably like $50 at Galaxy's Edge. I can't imagine how much they charge now. But you can have the thrill of customizing and building a lightsaber out of prefabricated parts. And as cool as that is, I've always thought actually building one was a lot more meaningful, and when Phantom Menace came out, I decided I wanted to build my own. Not like these wonky ones that you can create at Disneyland with all sorts of Kylo Ren blades, but a traditional lightsaber with just the hilt, the blade, and my own Mon Calamari. Okay, maybe not. I mean, heck, even Rey made a lightsaber out of her staff, and we finally got that yellow blade that was teased with the original Luke figure. So there's a lot of YouTube videos out there about how to make a lightsaber, and a lot of them require a lot of skill. Well, mine not so much. I'm going to show you how to build a lightsaber in one afternoon. In fact, the only hard part is waiting for it to dry, which is the only lengthy part of the process. Everything else can be done in a matter of about 2 hours. And a trip to Home Depot. Every single piece came from Home Depot. It's super easy, barely inconvenient. So head over to Home Depot and pick up all the pieces, which I'm going to outline in this video, and you won't even need that many tools. You'll basically maybe need a saw, you'll need a screwdriver, a drill, maybe a pair of pliers. That's about it. It's going to be pretty easy, and you too could have a really cool looking lightsaber for your very own that you feel proud of because you made it. All right. Mine's even actually in scale and adequate to a FX lightsaber, which I'm pretty darn proud of. Of course, it doesn't have a blade, which people still ask me, why would you build a lightsaber if it doesn't have a blade? Same reason you have a hoverboard that doesn't float, people. Come on, it's for funsies. All right, so this is not going to be complicated. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there that make it complicated. So you're going to start off with a wooden dowel about 6 or 7 inches long. And again, there's a lot of variety. You can change this up. But with that wooden dowel, you're going to want it to be about an inch at the width, or if you will, something that you would slip into your hand. It's going to be the base. And you're going to want to drill holes in the bottom and the top. So you can do this with a manual drill. You can do this with an electric drill. It's a lot easier with an electric one. And then, likewise, you're going to want to get a metal tube that will slip around the dowel with a little bit of extra space. So the metal tube is a little bit longer than the dowel. And you'll want to make one small dimple drill into the metal. This will come in play later. All right, so you can see here I unscrewed the top of mine so you can see the wooden dowel there inside of the metal tube. And you can see how the metal tube is about maybe like 1/4 of an inch longer than the wooden dowel is, and it basically just holds it in place. So next up, how do I get all of the rubbery little grip parts that are sort of ribbed up and down the top and the bottom? Well, here's where the fun begins. So this is done with these circular round rubber items called slip joint washers. There's different versions, but again, all available at a standard hardware store. I bought all of mine at Home Depot. You can get ones of different lengths, different circumference, different width, and they're used in plumbing in order to hold PVC piping together. What I did was I took these slip joint washers, this is the one I used here, so you can try to find one that looks like this, and then inverted them one on top of another in order to create that ribbed look that goes up and down the saber. So what I did here is I've peeled back the rubber layer, which I'm going to show you how to easily apply in a few moments, and you can see the slip joint washer underneath. So one on top of another simply creates that really cool look. And by putting them on both sides of the dowel with the silver tube in the center, if you will, you can put them on either side. And now it is ribbed.
Rib for her pleasure.
All right, I told you this was the fun part. Now we're going to get to the cool, fun, rubbery part, and that's done with Plastidip. So this is, again, a material that can be bought at any hardware store or candy shop, where it's used by, well, electricians and construction workers to create a rubber grip on tools, or you often see this done on keys, all sorts of things. Super easy to use. The only catch is the drying process, which usually takes about 24 hours, maybe overnight. That's the only lengthy part of this, is waiting for it to dry. So you could see here, I unscrewed the top, I didn't unscrew the bottom, but I dipped both sides into the Plastidip so that it covers the slip joint washers on both sides of the metal tube. The bottom is just an inverted faucet handle, and there's lots of different models, different looks you can get, and it is simply screwed directly into the wooden dowel. That's why you're putting drill holes into it before you start. Then you simply spray it with Rust-Oleum Mirror Effect or any silver spray paint, using duct tape to block off the area you don't want to get painted. And there's lots of different colors you can choose from. I like to have a kind of shiny metallic look. There's lots of spray paint choices. The top of it is simply a sprinkler head, again, screwed into the top of the dowel. And this comes already with a screw pointing down. That's how they're attached. So you simply take this, you can paint it, you can find one that's already made of metal, one that you like, there's different styles. So the faucet is screwed to the bottom, the sprinkler head is screwed into the top, so again you can see the hole that we screwed in the very beginning, and that's going to now take the sprinkler head, simply just twists right in, as long as you didn't make the hole too big. And bingo, you now have a lightsaber. Oh yeah, and that hole I told you to make in the metal tube in the beginning, that's for the emitter knob. And that can be any knob, which again, you can screw right in or glue in place as need. And now, bam, after 2 hours and maybe overnight drying of the rubber dip, Plastidip, you have your own lightsaber. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was a cool, crafty, fun thing to do. If you liked it, please do share it with others. It's the best way to support this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.